Hello, my name is Gerald. Take what I am about to tell you about as a piece of warning about the paranormal. I stared into the inky abyss of the open sea, the USS Cerberus slicing through the dark waves like a phantom in the night. I was Petty Officer Reynolds, a seasoned member of the naval crew, but nothing could have prepared me for the horrors that awaited us on that fateful voyage. As the ship sailed through the South Pacific, an eerie tension hung in the air. Whispers of an ill-fated mission circled among the crew, but the specifics eluded us like ghosts slipping through the shadows. Late one night, as I stood watch on the dimly lit deck, a chill crawled down my spine, and a feeling of unease settled over me. The sea seemed to groan beneath the ship's weight, and the wind carried distant echoes that bordered on the supernatural. I caught glimpses of flickering shadows, an intangible presence that danced at the edge of my vision. The unease intensified as strange occurrences became commonplace. Flickering lights, disembodied whispers, and the unshakable feeling of being watched. One moonless night, as I patrolled the deserted corridors below deck, an anguished cry echoed through the steel walls. The sound was haunting, a lament that transcended the realm of mortal suffering. I followed the agonized wail through a labyrinth of passageways, each step heavier than the last. The cry led me to the ship's hold, a dim chamber where shadows clung to forgotten crates. The air thickened with an otherworldly presence, and my breath caught in my throat. In the feeble glow of my flashlight, I saw a figure, a specter clad in tattered naval attire. Its hollow eyes met mine, and the cry echoed once more before dissipating into the cold, metallic silence. Word of my encounter spread among the crew like wildfire, and hushed conversations filled the mess hall. Some spoke of a ghostly crewmate lost at sea years ago, while others whispered of a malevolent force that sought vengeance for a forgotten transgression. The ship, it seemed, carried the weight of a tragic history. As the days wore on, I felt an unseen presence beside me during my duties. Cold breath whispered against my ear, and phantom footsteps echoed through empty corridors. The ship's logbooks revealed no record of the spectral crewmate, leaving the crew in a state of perpetual dread. One stormy night, the Cerberus sailed into the heart of a tempest. The wind howled like a tortured soul, and the sea rose in monstrous swells. As the ship pitched and rolled, a ghastly visage materialized on the water's surface, the ghostly silhouette of a long-lost vessel, cursed to wander the depths. The ship's distress signal blared, a haunting melody that cut through the storm's roar. My heart raced as I watched the spectral ship draw closer, its crew of phantoms staring with hollow eyes. The Cerberus and its ghostly counterpart seemed bound by an invisible thread, connected through time and tragedy. During restless nights, I found myself drawn to the ship's archives, unraveling the threads of the Cerberus's haunted past. The ghostly crewmate, it seemed, was entwined with a tale of mutiny and betrayal. The ship's captain, driven mad by the treachery, had unleashed a curse that bound the Cerberus to the restless souls condemned to haunt its corridors. As I delved into the ship's history, the spectral crewmate revealed itself to me in fragments. It was the tortured soul of a young sailor, wronged by those he had once called comrades. The cries I heard, the unseen presence. It all became a chorus of agony, a symphony of suffering that sought redemption. Driven by a desperate need for answers, I sought the guidance of the ship's aging chaplain, a man burdened by the weight of untold secrets. Together, we uncovered an ancient ritual, a way to appease the vengeful spirits and break the curse that bound the Cerberus to its haunted destiny. On a moonlit night, the crew assembled on the deck, their faces etched with a mix of fear and determination. The ritual began, a delicate dance between the mortal and the supernatural. As incantations filled the air, the ship groaned beneath us, the spiritual currents shifting like tides. In the final moments of the ritual, a blinding light enveloped the ship. Ghostly apparitions faded into the ethereal glow, their anguished cries replaced by a profound stillness. The Cerberus sailed through the dissipating storm, its haunted history rewritten by the hands of redemption. The unseen presence that had haunted me for so long dissipated, leaving behind a sense of profound release. As the ship sailed into calmer waters, I stood on the deck, the weight of a ghostly legacy lifted from my shoulders. The Cerberus, once a vessel of despair, became a symbol of liberation, breaking free from the shackles of a cursed past. As the Cerberus sailed into the silent sea, a newfound tranquility settled over the ship. The crew, forever changed by the spectral ordeal, shared nods of silent understanding. The haunted chapters of the naval vessel's history had come to a close, leaving behind the echoes of a tale that would be whispered among sailors for generations to come.